Hello, everybody. Welcome to another iteration of the Fortnite tournaments coming up here. We're pretty excited with some of how the events are going to go underway. We're currently, I believe we're at week 3, if I'm not mistaken here. We're just going to check a few things. There we go. Make sure the audio's not too loud so you can hear everything nice and clear. And it looks like we're going to be landing at a completely different location this time around. Usually we've been landing over at Daily Bugle. We didn't quite see what it was in the past few weeks because we had our co-caster super casting the events. And this week we're going to have myself, Starwise, casting back in again. And we're spectating the silver division of the Nael, North American Esports League. Now over on the top left we're going to have King Alex Smith. Over in the top right will be No Bear, and over on the bottom will be Orange Man. So we'll see how they're going to play here. Looks like they're going to land in the Sunburned Shacks. Now, there's not a whole lot of items that they can find here compared to Daily Bugle, which they had such massive success on before. And it may have just been that maybe teams and players started to figure out and discover that Daily Bugle had a lot of potential going for it, especially with the level of success that the AoE team had in the past. We're not seeing as many items. Looks like they're gonna go fishing this time around. Very different start all around. They could find some pretty good weapons. See what comes up. Just a lot of uncommons or commons in the process here. Now what also makes it dangerous is they can't stay here as long as they could in Daily Bugle, but there's a lot more safety and security because there's probably going to be a lot less players making their way over to this location. Okay, so we're seeing... I gotta say, I like the skins this time around. In the previous league, we saw them using just basically default skins, but now we're leaving up to the players' full creativity, their full exploration on what they want, and I gotta say, they're pretty fun to look at. Well, it looks like they want to set the place ablaze here now. 43 players in this league. Teams of 3, so this is going to be a trios. And I want to see how it's going to end up turning out because it's a lot less players compared to the previous times when it was roughly around 80 to 90 players each week. Now we're looking at about roughly half of that. Some good resources coming in, good shields, good health. We've got a lot of good stuff going in so far, but nowhere near as much as they had in previous weeks. Nice and steady as it goes. Be able to find a good jump pad. Legendary item coming underway. Now let's see where they're at with their standings in this current league. I believe we finished week 2, moving on to week 3. And if we look at the standings here, I want to say they are 4th from the bottom, unfortunately, so they're a little bit lower. It doesn't seem like they had the best of weeks, but they're tied with a lot of places, with the first place team being Beach City Storm with a whopping points of 17. Meanwhile, AoE has a score of 6. So with 6, that's not too far off. I mean, with the way that the points go in, they can easily rack up points in these upcoming matches and make their way up, especially as they start to seed and place higher and higher throughout these games. So we're still going on here, nice and quiet. Now, just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's bad at any way possible too. It means that they are able to get some good time here to do what it is they need to do. Now, on the top left, we're going to see King Alex Smith find the Spider-Man gauntlets. That's going to be huge. That's proven very successful, in especially with the way that this AoE team plays, is that they like to play very aggressively, swapping around the players and jump right into their opponents, with a few members playing on the side, providing that bit of distraction. So the web gauntlets allows them to go in and out of fights and choose it much more cautiously, and at the same time also gives them that time for a lot more margin of error, so that if anything goes wrong, they can easily just abandon the fight. Now, top right corner, we're going to see No Bear pick up a car here, but top left, King Alex getting shot in from an unknown location. Orange Man getting shot at as well. Looks like they spot their opponents in the cliff, trying to do whatever damage they can. King Alex trying to take his aim. Both aims going to come in. Orange Man taking quite a bit of damage here. Can he be able to take down his opponent? Opponent is going to get dropped down here, but not out yet. One is going to be eliminated. That's going to be 2 gone. 1 still down, but with that last down, that's going to be a full team wipe here for AoE. Talk about racking up points. So it's 2 eliminations for No Bear, 1 for King Alex. Orange Man unfortunately wasn't able to assist as much, but provided a lot of good distraction. They gotta give him the support. They get assist in there. Those items coming in, that's gonna be huge. That basically they had all the items they were looking for handed to them on a silver platter. Now only Orange Man and King Alex have Spider-Man gauntlets. Unfortunately, No Bear, you gotta walk everywhere you go. Luckily for them, nobody's here to diminish any resources that they were able to capture. Because especially as we start to reach the later half of the matches, we start to see whoever keeps all their utility for as long as they can end up coming out on top. And the teams that take more fights end up losing out in the end. Unless they have the resources to support it. King Alex trying to go for the bird. Oh, but he found the llama. Should be good. They've got enough resources to contain it. Get some good weapons from it. Doesn't look like they're gonna go for it though. It is quite dangerous. I mean, the circle and radius is starting to close in a lot more. They don't have a lot of information on where their opponents are. And it is a little bit out in the open. On top of that, they're all pretty split far apart. So if any danger does come their way, they won't really have an answer for that. They just end up being caught out. Now they do see a little bit of a build. So they know that opponents are going to be building over on this side. They're able to spot one here over the top left. King Alex Smith and Orange Man and No Bear. All 3 of them are going to engage onto the enemy. King Alex taking some heavy damage. Has to force the build away. Still trying to web gauntlet away. Meanwhile, on the top right here, No Bear is able to get a good few shotgun shots. Able to down 1. Can't quite get the elimination just yet, but has the time, has the pressure, has the power to be able to do so. Another elimination going to come in for No Bear. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Orange Man hot on the enemy's tail. Can't quite find anybody just yet. Looks like the enemy's going to get away in the meantime here, but they do have a rough idea where they ended up. So it's just going to be the one. Actually, we've got 4 eliminations. 2 enemies were eliminated in the process. There's still 1 left. They gotta watch out here. They might run into an enemy opponent. It's like that last remaining member did manage to escape, but definitely a huge win. Either way, if they carry on to the very end and they run into that opponent again, they're definitely gonna be down on resources and they're definitely gonna be down on members, of course. Looks like AoE just gonna cover each other's back, try to figure out where their opponent is. They do spot him out here. 3-man pressure. Looks like their opponent is gonna web gauntlet away, but AoE is hot on their tail. King Alex trying to get the shot on, lands on the first arrow. Can't quite follow up with a little bit more after that. Opponent still trying to run away here, but King Alex using shotgun for a very long distance range battle. Might not go in his favor. Trying to go up close and personal. Spots the opponent building it higher and higher. Meanwhile, getting support from No Bear. Both of them trying to figure out where their opponent is landing. Orange Man here for the support, trying to bring down the opponent's build. All 3 AoE esports team trying to make their way in. Finally, King Alex able to secure that last bit of shot and take down the last remaining member of whatever team that was. Now there is a car in the distance, and you can also see the ping on the top right corner from No Bear, nearby where that tornado area was. They do spawn out a few opponents. Now, they gotta watch out here. King Alex is down to half. Orange Man's got no shield, and No Bear is quite low on shield. They've got no resources to be able to support that back up. King Alex looks like they want to engage. Fires the first shot. Keeps on putting on pressure. Orange Man and No Bear try to go for an up close and personal shot. Looks like one member is going to be downed. Aren't able to get the elimination. There's the elimination here, but King Alex is going to get taken down. Still down, but not out just yet. Has to maneuver their way around, try not to get taken down. Meanwhile, No Bear in a 1v1 scenario against Spider-Man of all people, or the Venom suit, knocks him down, gets that elimination coming in, and there it is. King Alex is still alive. There's still one more opponent somewhere in the distance. But the kills, eliminations, and points are definitely racking up for AoE Silver team this time around. King Alex down to half health. No Bear here for the help. Actually, no, it's gonna be Orange Man, I suppose. Oh, but Orange Man spots out an opponent. King Alex is gonna wait a little bit longer as No Bear able to get the res. Bring him back up, that fallen soldier. King Alex back up. No health though. Look at that. 30 health. Only has the shield pods to go off of it. And it's going to be brought down to half. Got nothing else after that. And they haven't found anything else after that. You can hear the web gauntlets from all these different angles. Orange Man's out in the open, trying to face him off, trying to push him away. But King Alex is going to get dropped again here. Has to retreat a little bit longer here. But No Bear and Orange Man able to capitalize and take down their opponent. King Alex is still down, but opponents are still surrounding them at any angle. Look at this. No Bear in the top right, 1 HP. Orange Man, 38 health. Barely any cover that they can work off of, and no shields. This is going to be an incredibly difficult fight for them upcoming soon. Now, there's only 11 players left. Luckily, 3 of them are the AoE Esports Silver team. I keep saying AoE Esports. You know, it's AO Esports, or AoE, not AoE Esports. Or would it be AoE Esports? You guys can always correct me in chat, but looks like Orange Man definitely wants to engage with 38 health. I mean, that's risky. I think he just ran right by someone. I think he missed it. Opponents raining fire onto King Alex. King Alex now with the most HP. I'm scared for No Bear, if anybody. 1 HP, one tick of anything. He makes one simple misplay, gets taken down. Orange Man getting taken down here. Orange Man was the second most health. Unfortunately, might get eliminated. Opponents swinging. There's going to go Orange Man. That's one down from AoE Sports. Luckily, No Bear was able to find some good consumables to bandage himself back up. At least get a little bit of health in the process. Gonna play defensively for a little bit longer here, but King Alex trying to hold down the fort. They weren't able to get that reboot card, so they don't have any utilities to bring him up. Now, there's 8 players left. 2 of them are AoE. No Bear able to get away here. 46 health. Oh, just gets dropped. Just barely was not able to get out of that one here. Was almost though. A slight misplay. Fumble of the joysticks, if you must, on the build, and gets dropped down here, but nobody's got an answer for him to try to take him down. They don't exactly know where he is, but King Alex could potentially bring back No Bear, and I think that's going to be his best hope, but I don't think he's in the position to either. At least he's got Orange Man's reboot card, could bring him back in, but with how small this radius is, there isn't really going to be much of an opportunity to be able to do so. King Alex's best bet is to stock up on items, potentially bring back No Bear. It's very risky. Opponents could be making their way here too. Oh, he definitely out in the open. That's gonna be it. AoE gonna place 3rd in this week's, or I guess this particular game's matches. Very well played from them all though. Hang on for quite a while. Wasn't able to. I think they just took way too many fights during that time, and they weren't able to keep themselves alive at the end, because they were getting shot at from so many different angles, and with the width of the where the radius was at that moment, they just didn't have an answer at that time. Now we're gonna take a short break as we get the next game set up, so stick around, stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hello once again, everybody. We're back with the next game on for the silver division of the NAEL, North American Esports League. And of course, we're going to see the AoE silver team come right back into the action. What happens there? Let's get that settled. There you go. And so we're going to land in a completely different location than last time around. And I much prefer this one here. It's a lot more difficult for players to get their hands on this one here, but no, it actually looks like No Bear is going to be taken down first, but they're able to secure the deal, save the day here, but No Bear is going to get eliminated. Orange Man's going to get eliminated here in the process. Now it's up to King Alex Smith, who's taking fire from all different angles, and unfortunately, that's going to be a very quick game here for AoE, as they weren't able to do as much. I mean, they came in a little bit late compared to their opponents, and then just got taken out right there. Unfortunately, that looks like it's going to be a wrap for them. I mean, it was unfortunate timing. By the time they got there, the opponents had already secured all the weapons that they needed to, so AoE was not able to respond in any way whatsoever. So unfortunately, that's going to be it for silver this time around. We are gonna, I do apologize for the long break here as we get into that one, but looks like we're gonna go right back into another break. Actually, we're not ending it there. We're as we go into the gold division, we're gonna be right back, and we'll get that set up for you shortly.
You don't know these streets like we do. 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 Like we do.
Hello, and welcome to another iteration of the next match, next division of the NAEL, which is going to be the North American Esports League. We've got the Gold Division for AoE Gold, and we're pretty excited. This is going to be game number 1 out of 2 matches. Over in the top left, you're going to see Doc Holiday. On the bottom right, you're going to see Tree, and the unseen character you're going to see, probably hearing in the background here, is Gator. So new trio here. Looks like they're going to go with the tried and true strategy of going over into Daily Bugle. We'll see how that's going to play out for them. They've had some pretty good success in past weeks. This week, the moment they don't go for it here, they weren't able to get in for the win here. Now they do see a little bit of fire going to go under the way. Looks like bottom right, Tree is able to get some good weapons in the process here. A little bit of a rare, but top left, Doc Holiday isn't able to get so much.
Oh wait, there's people in my door. Oh, I'm so glad I hit that.
So we gotta watch out here. So there is a little bit of an imminent threat making their way in. Gator taking some heavy damage, gonna get down. As you can hear in the background here, they're trying to make their way back down over towards Tree. Tree trying to get the support in. Over the top left corner, Doc Holiday taking some massive damage, now down to 8 health. Trying to build their way around, but low in resources, meaning they're gonna get dropped as well. Now it's up to Tree to try to save the day, see what they can do. Tree able to reposition himself a little bit better, but gets heavy fire from the top angle here, trying to build a way around, make their way disengaged from the fight, but not able to do so in time. That's gonna be a 14th place finish here for AoE Gold, and unfortunately, that's gonna be the end of game 1 here. Now, what in the world is happening? We saw in previous weeks in the XP League that this team was able to do fantastically well, and now they're not looking so hot. Now, what could be the reasoning here? Maybe they're a little bit split. Maybe some teams are trying to follow some of their strategies in a little bit better. They're able to capitalize a little bit more on what their opponents are doing. And it could also be a little bit of a unlucky draw here too, because they also landed where a lot of other players were landing, and depending on what items are found does drastically change on how these encounters play out. Now, usually we see Tree, he's able to maneuver and jump in and back out, but it wasn't able to get enough time to capture all those resources to put him back into a solid position, but was able to reposition himself quite well. Now, we didn't quite get to see Gator in the process, but we did see him go into a little bit of firefight on the sidelines, and Doc Holiday was holding on for dear life, trying to provide some support for Gator here, but ultimately got picked up along the way here. Now, we're going to take a short break as we wait for game number 1, the rest of the players to finish off, and then re-queue up for game number 2, so we'll be right back. Hello, hello. We're back with the final game of the day for the AoE Gold team and the NAEL, so North American Esports League. I'm your host and caster Starwise, and we're wrapping up today's games with our trio of the hour. Doc Holiday on the top left, Tree on the bottom right, and off-screen Gator, also known as Greninja, which we didn't specify last game. But I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Hopefully they do a lot better than the last games we've seen so far. Now, what's mainly happening in these games is that there's a lot of other players also landing in similar areas that the rest of the team are, and they aren't able to hold out as long. Now, we saw in one of the Silver Division matches that they did manage to land in a very safe area, and that allowed them to have a little bit of a free roam around where they needed to go. But this time around, hopefully nobody else interferes with them in the process, and they're able to secure the weapons they need. I do see that there are going to be a few enemy players here landing in the area, so they got to watch out. Tree already able to land, get a decent weapon in the process. Going to be an uncommon and common weapon as well. Top left corner, Doc Holiday is able to get a sniper uncommon. Bit of an epic too. It's going to help out a lot. You hear some pings going in. They do know that there's at least one other team nearby. We saw Doc Holiday landing very closely to another. Looks like they did lose that bit of vision, so they don't know exactly where they're going to come in. So they got to watch out here. This trio can't stay away from each other for too long or spread too far apart in case somebody fires on. And just like we're seeing here, Doc Holiday and Tree are able to spot out one opponent. They did get a pretty good damage here. Gator gonna get dropped. Looks like Tree's gonna be able to bring him back up to speed for now, but Doc Holiday taking some massive damage and wasn't able to get the shot off, unfortunately, and that would have been a perfect one too. Looks like the opponents are slowly making their way in. Tree down to half shields. Doc Holiday down to half health. Gator down to roughly a quarter. Tree in a deadlock battle, 1v1. 1v2, able to down one, able to down two, spots out the third, can't quite find him out there, but he's going to be able to eliminate at least one. Second dropped over on the side, gets a second elimination. There's still one player left for the enemy team, and that should be the last person here too. Well, it looks like it's going to be spotted out by Tree. Tree able to get that final elimination, and finally, that's going to be AoE Gold able to come out on top in this initial fight. Now, finally, this is the barrier that AoE had so much difficulty getting passed through. They weren't able to secure the weapon that they needed earlier on in this match to allow them to take on these fights. Now that we're actually seeing that come into play, they'll have more than enough time to secure more weapons. Now, as long as they don't get into any surprise fights along the way, they should be able to hold on much longer than the previous rounds. It almost seems like actually, this is the reverse. In Silver Division, round 1 was a lot better than round 2. In Gold, round 2 was a lot better than round 1. So now we're seeing AoE take their time to build up the resources, especially for the upcoming battles to come. Because we saw in round 1 for the Silver Division, they got caught out in a lot of different areas, and not so much caught out, but they took up a lot of fights in the process, and that ended up biting them back in the butt just because they utilized so much resources. Once they got taken down a notch, they had no way of replenishing their health or shields. So taking up those later fights, we saw, I believe in one of the last battles in Silver Division, No Bear had 1 health at the end of it and was just holding on with 1 HP, taking on all these different players. Now, we're seeing it very differently for the Gold Division. We're seeing they're able to not utilize as many resources for the first fight. So they're able to hold on for a lot more. So when the future fights come in, it'll be a lot smoother for them. Now, no Spider-Man gauntlets this time around means AoE has to drive to their destinations. Must be driving them crazy. So we're just seeing a bit of a build up here. Let them get themselves back up together. Nice, good loot coming in. A lot of shields. And so now we're sitting at a 31 players left. Legendary weapons gonna come underway here, but the storm gonna close right underway here. So top left corner, Doc Holiday is gonna start making their way out of the storm. But we're seeing Tree in the bottom right corner is gonna spot out the Spider-Man gauntlets. That's gonna be perfect for them. They're gonna be able to just finally maneuver around the map just as they enjoy doing so. I mean, Tree is one of the most mobile and aggressive players on the AoE team. Doc Holiday is a very good all-rounder too. Provides a lot of good support, but also knows when to engage at the same time. And a lot of play style from AoE seems to be just get up close and personal, take them down, and when necessary, provide that support for another player to distract him from the side. Now we are going to see, looks like there might have been an opponent. I think I saw one on the top left corner in Doc Holiday screen. Unnamed player web slinging around. I can see them right there. I gotta watch out here. Anga Gator getting dropped in the process. Unfortunately, that's going to be an elimination. And with the storm already closing in, Anga Gator will no longer be in this final round. Unfortunately, that also means Doc Holiday taking quite a bit of damage. Doesn't have the web slinging gauntlet. Might get taken down here. 8 HP, still alive. 7 HP, 6 HP. The storm is kicking in, but they're not going to be able to hold on much longer. 100 health, 37, make that 0. And that's going to be a wrap for Doc Holiday as they get taken down. And with Doc Holiday and Anga Gator getting taken down in the middle of the storm, I think that's going to be it for this remaining team. They don't have the reboot cards. They're not going to be able to get back into play. And now pick your screen. You can choose the left or the right. Same person. It's going to be Tree, the last remaining member. 1 versus 25. That is going to be a difficult play if there ever is going to be one. Especially, at least he's got the web slingers just to make their way around the map. Make it a little bit easier for them. This is Tree's knowledge coming into play. You can tell that experience that comes in just from knowing where the blue boxes are going to be. Gotta watch out here though. This could be a highly populated area at some point. Players could be making their way through here. Don't quite know just yet. Be able to get themselves very stocked up. Now what I like about Tree is that they've also got quite a lot of shield regeneration consumables to allow them to just survive on these upcoming fights. Of course, with the resources coming in, build battles, a very strong forte for Tree as well. Hasn't spotted anything else of use just yet. It's got the shotgun, it's got the rifle there. What I've noticed is Tree doesn't particularly enjoy using a sniper rifle. Tree just likes to go up close and personal. Now reboot cards, you can see there's about 2 minutes left to collect the reboot cards, but because they're so far into the storm, it wouldn't make sense to. Plus, you'd have to go into the reboot area or to the reboot station just to bring them back, and that's with the amount of players that it's closing in on, it's going to be too difficult to do so. Now Tree's opting to disengage from the fight, and for good reason. A 1v3 scenario is definitely not when you want to come in or take on. No matter how good of a player you are, it never makes sense to take on that, especially with the minuscule amount of resources that are going to be coming onto play, because your character can only hold so many things in their backpack to continue on with this fight. So once it gets taken out, I mean, finding more stuff is going to be so difficult for them. You can hear some firefight in the background. You can see a build in the top left corner of tree screen as well. Just slowly making their way around, collecting whatever loot they can, just adding it to their list of inventory. Oh, someone tried to fire on tree. Tree's gotta watch out here. They should know that he's in this area. Doesn't look like he can engage just yet, but he's going to build upwards, build downwards, spots out the one. Could spot out two more. He's got to be careful as he takes this fight in. Looks like he definitely wants to take it in. Trying to build around. Spots out the opponent. Could be a one-on-one. Gets some good damage in. Spots out that last little bit. Does he down him? Looks like he was able to down him. No, there it is. There's the elimination. Tree able to pick off one for the team. And there, those shield consumables able to bring him right back up to speed. Can choose to take on this fight or disengage. Looks like he's gonna choose to disengage here. I won't lie, that glider scared the hell out of me. I was like, how does this car fly up here? This would be perfect for Tree, able to spot, get a larger shield pot. Nobody here in the close by vicinity, so Tree's gonna hug the outskirts here. He's now got two large shield pots, so he can bring himself. Oh, make that three. A lucky day here. So now Tree's main hope is to just hold down the fort. Try to survive as long as they can, deal as much damage as they can in the process. Maybe pick off one or two players. So we saw him pick off the one. There was the other teammates trying to provide that support and take down Tree for the revenge, but just Tree was able to maneuver cleanly out of there. Very well played. So it's about another minute before Storm starts to close in a lot more than it has before. Big Tree is able to get in a pretty good spot here underground, nice and a lot of cover. Except once you go into this area here, could be out in the open. So you're going to use this area just to take a little bit of refuge as he waits for their opponents to try to build their way through or make their way through. But definitely going to watch out here. Somebody can come in from any angle. Tree is not in the best of positions, especially if he gets caught out. Be a good spot to hide out from in the meantime here. Not a lot of players really would think of just looking in here. There's not a lot of resources to look into. And with the only opening there, as long as players don't just throw a grenade or some kind of projectile that explodes and surrounds the area, Tree should be more or less in the safe area. But with the circle closing in and moving away from Tree's location, Tree's forced to move out. A little bit of an unfortunate circumstance, but should be okay for now. 13 players left, including Tree. Tree gonna move to the upper portions of the compound here. Hasn't quite spotted anybody just yet. Could take a fight here. It's a pretty good spot to hold out here. slowly. Oh, you can see some of the loot's already been taken. Somebody could have been in this area. It's hard to say. There's a bit of loot in the water, meaning somebody was probably taken out. This fight more than likely happened before anybody even came here, but you can see the web slinger, or you can hear the web slingers in the background here. So tree just stealthily making their way in. I mean, they could be above this compound for all we know. They can be in the upper part of the mountains on top. Nobody's really gonna know and be none the wiser to. Pretty good area for Tree to hide out in. Got all the resources he needs. Now, the difficult part about this is if Tree does need to leave, it's going to be that much more difficult for him to be able to do so. Just going to wait out all this. Hopefully the circle closes in for this area so Tree doesn't have to move, but we'll find out in about 30-ish seconds or so where that circle is going to close into. If Tree needs to move, he would have to do it sooner rather than later because he'd need to get that better positioning. But now he's in a 1v10 with 11 players still left, including Tree. Now, as much as I would like to see Tree go all out on these firefights and take down the opponents left and right, it may be more beneficial for him to just wait it out here. 50 seconds, yep. Tree forced to move out. Slowly gonna make their way. Does hear some noises, so he's gotta play his cards very carefully. Making quite a bit of noise here. Gonna break his way through, maybe for a better positioning. Doesn't look like he can do much there. Still trying to make his way through. Trying to maneuver his way through this compound here. Might come back to bite him. He might have to... No, actually. See? As he slowly, stealthily creeps around. He's got a bit of time before players have to make their way here. He hears a bit of breaking. Spots out the one. See, it gets a shotgun shot. Caught by surprise. I don't know what that opponent was doing, but they must have jumped out of their seat in the process. Tree just carefully, methodically playing this round out. Waiting for the time to pass. There's going to be 10 players left, and with such a small circle, I can imagine it's a 3-3-3 setup. With Tree being the odd one out. We did see somebody nearby. Tree's got to watch out. He could get shotgun from any angle, too. Trying to get into a better position. Oh, here's one shot. Gets pushed back away. Doesn't take any damage here, so luckily he's still okay. He's gonna web sling his way to try to disengage from his fight. Definitely not a fight he wants to take, but he's gonna watch out here. Gets fired from different angles. Takes some little bit of damage down to half shields. Shields right back up. He's still got that here. A web sling out. Storm closing in at an inconvenient time. Tree just gonna hang around at the edge of the storm here, alongside some potential opponents. Gotta watch out here. Storm closing in even closer, and it looks like there might be more than one opponent here as well. Very difficult to say. Tree back up to full shields. One opponent from the top, one opponent from the bottom. Tree surrounded in many different angles. Might have to force his way out of here. Yes, he will. He's gonna web sling it away. 9 players left. Tree's still alive, but opponents definitely know he's around this area. Especially with the way Tree's moving, making a lot of noise. Build actively being placed in. Good time as any for Tree to replenish his shield. Doesn't look like he got another chance anytime soon. Spots out the one, takes out the one. Tree's still alive, 1v7. We could be still at a 3-3-1-1 scenario, or it could be a 2-2-2. 2-2-2-1-1? I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe a 3-2. Tree spots out the one, or spots out two, so we definitely know there's at least one team there. Could be a bunch of solo players too. You know. That leaves 5 other players. It could be a 2-2-2-1-1. Sounds like 2 gunshots onto the one. I don't know. It's kind of tough to say. Tree doesn't have a lot of information to go off of here, especially if he ends up in a scenario with a 1v3. It'll be so difficult for him to try to finish it off here. And with the circle closing in so much, I mean, this is just, he's biding his time here. Borrowed time, it almost seems. Circle cleanly, just precisely closing in where Tree is exactly on the map. Nobody's really going to know he's here. Unless some kind of unplanned firefight comes underway here. And, of course, that's where the circle is going to go. Looks like this is going to be the last 40 seconds before the storm closes in to the finale. Tree spots up the one. Tries to hunt him down, deal as much damage as he can. He's able to get the elimination. Now he's going to make his way back into the storm. Gotta be careful to do so here. Doesn't have any time to be able to shield back up. No, he's gonna make some time as he iron walls his way back in. Iron walls back. Gets the shield back in. He's desperately gonna need this. He has to get back to full shields before this next fight goes underway. Able to successfully do so. 5 players left. Make that 2 players left. 1. Now we're in a 1v1 deadlock scenario. Tree is the last remaining member up against this person. And winner gonna take all for the victory royale. Who is it gonna be? It's gonna be Tree or this mystery player. Tree knows exactly where they are. The opponent may or may not know exactly where Tree is. Both players now have a good sense, a good idea where that's gonna be. Storm gonna close in ever so slightly. And they do know that they have to play it out here. Tree with the low ground here. Doesn't take any damage, but deals quite a good shotgun shot building around here. Tree still holding on. Both players building left and right. And Tree able to finish it out here with the victory royale. Bringing home the victory for AoE Gold this time around. This is a huge victory for them. Successfully well played here by Tree at the very end. Held on for such a long time. And that's going to be a wrap for this week's matches. I am completely blown away by how this turned out. It looked very treacherous for AoE Gold as they were making their way through into that match. And with some of the members getting taken out around the mid-game point, Tree was holding on in a 1v20-ish scenario and ended up coming out on top with the victory royale just by being a sneaky little rat. And I mean that in the best of compliments. Being a lurker or a rat in the process is just a nuisance to the players on the side, picking them off one by one. It's almost like a horror movie with Tree coming out on top. Tree being the main villain or the Jason Voorhees, picking off opponents one by one.